Hello and welcome to the Sanctuary, a safe space to speak from the heart. I'm your host, Israel, and my guest today is the really busy, the super talented General Khan. Thanks for coming to the Sanctuary today.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, today, I just want to talk about the album and, the process of making this thing and how long it has been coming on. So people know you more for the work you do for the community, for
Right,
mobilizing people.
right.
But I don't think most people know that you wrote music.
No, they don't. They don't know that at all. I started writing music when I was like 11. I feel like it's something that really spoke to me. I really wanted to find a way to channel my feelings. I feel like as a young people, we deal with a lot of stuff, and growing up in Halifax in with the like a visibly Muslim family, I was seeing a lot of like racism and islamophobia at play. And so I was trying to figure out a way to channel my emotions. And so I started writing music. And as a kid, my brother and my sister introduced me to rap growing up. And I always loved the rap style, and really where it came from, which was like expressing, one's experience with oppression. Um, and so that being said, I remember like rapping in the back of my brother's like first car, being a little kid, like rapping along with what he was listening to.
Mhm.
Um, and being like, yo, that's so cool. And then when I first started writing, it wasn't rap, but I always knew that I enjoyed rap. And then it sort of like it progressed to, freestyling just for giggles, you know what I mean?
Mm.
Or then I started writing raps more seriously in my like late teens, early 20s.
Mhm.
So like from like 17, 16 to 20 years old, I started writing like rhymes that were like, laid out. But even
Mm.
then I wasn't writing properly as people actually write rhymes, because I wasn't around people that were like doing music. Because in the Muslim community, you're basically expected to be three things: an engineer, a doctor, or a lawyer. And
Oh.
those are your three choices. And I tried to go into sciences. It wasn't my thing. I went into arts and I did social sciences, and I was really into like learning about history and oppression and how to dismantle that. Um, and then it wasn't until like finding more people who were in the music scene who were like willing to mentor me that I was able to really work on like the way I was writing, and
Mm.
make it um more nuanced and more concise as a rap, so that I was actually writing full bars and not missing syllables.
Mm.
And so I had been writing for a while, but I kept that to myself. I felt like just because of the organizing work that I was doing, that maybe the people, like the alt-right and folks like that who do not like me, would take my art away from me. And I was scared that maybe they would taint this one thing that allowed me to get away from all that violence. And so I was keeping it to myself, and there was friends of mine like, Caleb Warden and Nivi Singh, who are like, Masuma, you got to do this. You got to do this. You got to do this. We see you. We recognize you as an artist. Like, we see you as a rapper. Like, that's how we view you. So, like, you need to go do this thing.
Mm.
And then I started getting more serious and writing more and taking the time to write more. So I started writing every day,
Wow.
trying to get everything out. And then, sometimes, like, because I do spoken word too, right? So
Mhm.
I would do my spoken word, but I'd still be writing my bars, my raps, and just keeping it to myself, because like I didn't have access to beats, I didn't have access to the studio, I had never been recorded, I don't know anything. And like in the community I'm from, like, you know I could say a lot of people are not happy that I'm following my dreams, because they don't want to see Muslim women really doing this kind of thing, or like expressing themselves in this way.
Mhm.
And I think it's important that Muslim women have agency to do as they want and as they please, so that they can follow their dreams. And if music is your dream, you should follow that. And so it took me so long to be able to be like, yes, I can do this. And I was scared because of so many of the things that my community would say. I was scared to, like, tell my mom, like, yo, I really want to do music. Like, I really want to pursue this thing that's been a dream of mine. And I was apprehensive about how she would react, but she was actually really supportive about it. And so was my dad. Um, so it was nice to have that kind of support and be like, okay, like, I'm the first one in this city. And really, from what I've seen across Canada, really engaging in this. There's no one that looks like me that's really doing this work that I've seen. If they're out there, like, holler back, like, do something. But, like, I haven't seen anyone.
Yeah.
And my rap is kind of different. Like, my rap is meaningful, it's thoughtful. I'm talking about really big concepts. It's kind of like an intersection of my passion in organizing and who I am as a person, and like my love for music coming together and hoping to bring more to the table. Because, like, of course I have some like chill music and like, yo, I'm so fresh, like, I like my song like Three Stripes, like
Three Stripes. I was going to
yeah,
talk about that one, but
yeah,
we'll
yeah.
get into it later.
Yeah. But like that's where it really started from. Music has been a dream of mine since I was a kid, but unfortunately I was around a lot of people who put that down, and I'm happy to say that, I'm following that now. So it's never too late to make your dreams come true.
No, I totally agree on the never too late part. I want to go back. You mentioned that you'd been your brother in the backseat of your brother's car rapping along.
Yeah.
What were some of the songs you were listening to then?
Oh, is the hip hop, the hippie to the hip hop, you don't stop. And then it was like Slick Rick, Lottie Dottie, we likes to party, we don't cause trouble, we don't bother nobody, we're just the men that's on the mic. And so like those kind of, he was listening to really like OG rap, right? And so like I think it's called Bedtime Story with Slick Rick. I love that because he did so many different voices, and like it's beatboxing. And so when I was a kid, I used to try beatbox. I wasn't great at it, but I would try because I just liked it, right?
Yeah.
And so it was things like that. And of course, like at that time when I was younger, like I was born in the mid-90s, so early 2000s, like rap, we're talking about Ludacris, 50 Cent, like all these like really cool kind of sounds coming out, and also like listening to late 90s stuff too, right? So I had been listening to Biggie, I had been listening to Pac, I had been listening to all these like really important music styles and like OGs of rap, and then like seeing that shift into the early 2000s is like one of my favorite kind of musical periods. The late 90s and early 2000s definitely have a soft spot for me because like Dipset, like oh boy, like those kinds of things, like I love those kinds of beats. And so for me specifically, it was like East Coast rap that really spoke to me. Like West Coast is good, but it was really East Coast rap that really piqued my interest, because that boom bappy, like that freshness, that like grungy kind of sound, but like also just getting into it. Like I liked that. And I liked because I feel like as a youth I was angry about what was happening around me. And I felt like rap was a way to channel that anger in a healthy way, to put those feelings down instead of pushing them onto other people. You know what I mean? So I was happy about those things, and those kind of like, even now when I listen to that music, it really grounds me and makes me feel good,
Something, as you were just talking, something came to mind. I was having a discussion with my friend some time back, and I was wearing I don't know, some like maybe Star Wars or whatever.
Right.
Oh no, I remember. I was wearing a Beatles t-shirt. It was John Lennon, and there was a lyric. And I don't know this song, right? So my friend was singing along to this song, and they were surprised that I wasn't reacting to them singing along. Like, wait, I'm singing what's on your t-shirt. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And then they mentioned something that, like, I'm super old and I've never experienced this before. No, really.
Okay.
So like, they identify as female, and they were like, So like you've never had someone ask you to prove that you understand what's on your t-shirt. I'm like,
Yeah.
what? And like I didn't know this at all. So like if you're female and you're wearing like say like a Star Wars t-shirt or
Yeah.
like you kind of have to be like, people be like, no, you're fake. You are
Yeah.
like, I'm like, what? And then so they sent me this TikTok video of this lady that was like mentioning Metallica or some band, and then people were like, oh no, you don't know these people. So and then they she had to like play the song with her
Right.
guitar. Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And anyway, what made this come to mind was you were mentioning these names of people that like, and I'm like, oh man, you actually know what you're talking about.
Oh
And
yeah.
then there are people that are gonna be like, oh wait, she's doing hip hop. What does she know? I'm like,
Right. Yeah, I mean, like that's the thing too, and that kind of thought gets in your head because it makes you feel like, well, what do I know? And that whole time, like, that's kind of been a barrier to me because I constantly have to explain myself. I constantly, I did hip hop karaoke a few years ago. It was like the first time I rapped in public, and people were not expecting. And I did a Biggie song, One More Chance, the original, and it's a very dirty song. It's a very dirty
yes,
song.
yes, it is.
And so when I was doing it, they were just kind of like, what? She knows how to like keep his flow and like say these words and do this thing. And it's like, yo, I love Biggie's flow. No one can be like Biggie. And then when I did that thing, everyone was like, oh yeah, she's like the hijabi Biggie. She's a hijabi Biggie. And then I started feeling like, I'm not trying to like take Biggie's flow and from the grave and resurrect it. Like, I'm not trying to be Biggie. I'm trying to be myself. He's an influence of mine, but I'm not trying to like Missy Elliott's an influence of mine. Lauryn Hill's an influence of mine, but I'm not trying to be them. I'm trying to be myself, right? And so like that's what I see really in the rap scene in Halifax, with a lot of these new folks coming in, and I'm new myself, so maybe I'm talking crap, but whatever. I'll say it like it is. Everyone's trying to mimic this sound instead of actually tuning into their own sound, and it's not sustainable. Like no one's gonna come to you being like, I want to listen to someone who's like Biggie. Yeah, like you just listen to Biggie. No one's gonna come to you and be like, oh, I want to listen to someone who's like Pac. No, they would just listen to Pac, right? So like that's when I had this realization. Is like, I don't want people to know me as hijabi Biggie. Yeah, I can mimic Biggie really well and do the pauses and the uhs and the but like I want to be myself and I want people to know me for my own voice too, right? But there's those influences that are naturally in there. But definitely having to prove myself and like getting comments like, oh, your writing has gotten so much better from like people. And there's so much shade in this like community, especially from the dudes in like the rap scene, in my experience. They're like gatekeeping, and when they see someone come up with more energy and like someone who's new, who's like bringing something else to the table, they try and co-opt that. And I'm not for that, honestly. I've learned a lot in this past year, and I just like I've learned through this process to have so much more respect for myself and my art, because like no one can take that away from me. No one can take my words away from me, right? That my words, my music is power, and that's mine to keep, and no one can take that. So yeah, it's been really hard, and like feeling like you have to prove something when you already have everything you need to prove within you is really difficult to navigate, because like first I'm a Muslim woman, and then I'm a woman, and I'm a racialized woman, and I'm a disabled woman, and I'm a woman who does all this work. So they just think like, oh, she's just trying to like come in here, swoop up, take our scene. I'm not trying to take no one's scene. I'm just trying to create my own scene and be part of what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Widen the conversation. I'm not talking about women and this and that, and that's not my steez. I'm talking about like what's actually affecting our community, and like my genre of rap is its own thing. I call it conscious rap because it's conscious and it's also a pun on con. You know what I mean? So like that's where I'm thinking my stuff is coming from. So I'm staying in my lane, people should say in theirs.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and it was like I never experienced that. Like, well, the t-shirt I'm wearing now is like an anime. I've never seen it.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever gonna be like, "Hey, do you know My Hero Academia?" I'm like, I don't know. I
Yeah.
just wore the t-shirt because I like it, and
Right.
like, so when they made that comment, I was like, "Holy smokes!" Like I've never
So
even thought of it.
yeah.
Let's talk about the Wrath of Khan, right?
Okay.
And it's been pretty much like a year in the making because we talked
Hmm.
like almost a year ago, and you're like,
Almost.
oh, because then you just got your residency in
Yeah.
CFAT. Let's start with that. What most CFAT is like Center for Arts Tapes, and
Yeah.
people would expect like film or like art or
Right.
like an installation, and you're like, no, no,
Hmm.
no, my residency is going to be me making this album. Why
Yeah.
did you try to why did you put that as your application, and how was the whole process of getting to be chosen as the CFAT artist in residence?
Honestly, it was nerve-wracking because like I didn't have any like portfolio. It's just like this is something I want to do. I have all these barriers. I don't have any resources. I really want to get this done. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it. And at that time too, I had people who are within like the rap scene in Halifax, like Ambies and DJ Uncle Fester, like being like Fester threw me a beat, and Ambies was kind enough to be like, "Here's some beats, pick them, like choose what you want," because like in his point of view, like supporting like women coming into rap is like a duty of all the dudes who are part of the rap scene, right? And so I'm thankful for that because at least he was willing to take a chance on me and give me beats that like he worked so hard on. And so was sitting on all these beats and I had written about half or more than half of the project. And I was like, I need a studio because I need to focus on this. I don't have a space to write. I can't just write in my bedroom. I need to learn these skills. I want to learn about producing. I want to learn about all these like technical skills. There's a lot of stuff that goes into making an album. Plus, I need funding to make the album. Like all these pieces that were really important. And so, um, I heard about it. I heard about the residency, and a friend of mine told me to apply, and I was like, ah. And they were like, just put your hat, just do it, just do it and try.
Yeah.
So I did it. I did my best. I tried to do my best. I tried to like make myself sound like the real deal, but I was like crapping my pants. Like, oh my
Yeah.
god, I hope I get this. I hope I get this. And so I went in and they're like, okay, we accept your application. You have one more part of this process, like it's a video interview. And I did that, and then I got word back that I got it, and I was just so
Was it like a call or email
for what?
that you were chosen?
I think it was an email.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it was an email that I got. It's like, congratulations. And then I got a call from CFAT being like, yo, welcome to the team. And like, we'll give you the keys and all this stuff. And like, CFAT was so supportive. Like, I could book a space there if I needed anything. They hooked me up with like getting production classes. Like, I was able to get, like, at the same time, I was really trying to work on my craft. So I was taking singing classes, I was taking production classes. Like, I was trying to use the money that they were giving me to really invest in my project. And so like I did all these things, and I was able to do my singing classes in the studio. I was able to do those production classes. I was able to have a place to write, have a place to really sit and think and like put all my thoughts together. And then I was also like recording at Ambi's studio, Discreet Era and Festers. And so it gave me a lot. Like I was working on my craft a lot because like I had never been recorded. And so it was tough for me to like get into this. And like so many people have years on me, like years, so much experience. They've been doing this since they were like 18. And I wish that was my experience, but I'm a quick learner, so I just like threw myself into it and hustled. And like I tried to get my project out by March. It didn't work, and I had to have a tough conversation like with MBs, and he was like, the reality is like you shouldn't rush your work, and rushing it is not going to do your work justice. Like you want it to be good. So let's take the time, like, get it mixed proper, get get it mastered properly so that, you know, you actually are giving your audience quality, because you do have an audience and you have people who want to see you succeed. So so yeah, I took that advice, and you know, it's coming out April 30th, and I feel many different kind of ways about it. I feel nervous and excited and weird and happy and just all those, like, it's, you know, it's the end, but it's a new beginning, and it's, you know, so many new opportunities, and I'm excited to see what people think of it. So what did you think about the little snippets I sent you?
I love them, and but like I guess, you know, I want to save my comments on them for a
Okay.
bit. I
Okay,
want
okay,
to
okay,
talk on
okay,
this
okay,
whole,
okay.
like, you were working on your album during the pandemic, so let's
Yeah.
talk about that.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't record for a while
Yeah.
because of the pandemic, and that's why I was really stressed. And so, like, I had started writing my album February 2020. So
Mm.
right before the pandemic hit, I was like, that's it, I'm writing it. I got my first beat for Three Stripes at that time. And
Oh, that,
and
well, that was the one that I really, really like, though.
yeah,
I mean, I like the Three Cents, but Three Stripes, I figured that was the title. The other two, I
yeah.
was going to talk about them, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So when I got that song, that's produced by Fester.
Mm.
And so when I got that beat, I felt so anxious. I was like, oh my God, it's such a dope beat. I had to write it so nice because it's Fester and it's Fester. Oh my God, I can't like let him down. And so like I was really nervous about that.
Mm.
And so wrote it, and I nixed it, and I wrote it again, and I nixed it, and I wrote it again, and I nixed it. And so like Fester didn't start like recording, like no one could come into his studio until like the summer, like late summer. So I just took that time to write exactly what I needed to, and I memorized the crap out of that song so that when I went into Fester's, it didn't take longer than like 30 minutes, in, out, it was done. Because I was like, I had recorded with Fester earlier when I first started, and it took me so long, and I was so tired. I didn't understand how tiring the recording process was. And it's because I wasn't prepared, because I didn't know. I thought that I would just like naturally be able to spit, but all this anxiety kicked in, and then I was worried about all this other stuff, and I'm looking at
Mm.
my phone, and I have half of my rap memorized, and the reality
Mm.
is you have to go in with the full thing memorized. You can be off a little and have your like lyrics as a reference, but you need the full thing, right?
Mm.
And so
Mm.
when Fester was like, my studio's open, I was like, I'm booking you right now. I'm in. It's done. Like that's it. And so I got that done. And then once things started opening up and restrictions lessened, I was able to record with MBs, and you know, we tried to do it like Sundays, Mondays, Tuesdays to like have time to record, because the majority of my album was at his studio, because most of the beats were from him.
Mm.
So we were just like trying to focus on like, okay, if Sundays don't work, then we'll make Mondays. So just like we had a schedule. And so
Mhm.
if things were a little heavy on me, I could like, you know, be like, okay, not this week, next week.
Mm.
And so that was nice, and honestly I'm very thankful for what the kind of space that MBs gave me, because like he allowed me to try a lot of things and not feel weird about it, because it's hard when you're first coming into it. You kind of feel like, you know, you have to prove yourself to all these people, and he's been in the rap scene for a minute, and he's an
Mm.
amazing rapper. He's so talented and beat maker. So I was just like, okay, like it was really nice to have like a supportive environment like that, where he was like, no, you're doing great. Like maybe you should try do this. Okay, like it's not there yet. Like, you know, you got, it's not, that wasn't the take. Like, you know, he was like talking me through it, and it really helped me. And like Fester did the same thing with Three Stripes. So all
Mm.
in all, it was good, but it was difficult because the pandemic, like
Mhm.
I had nothing else to do other than like work was so hard for me. I'm not good at working like online
Mm.
and doing this kind of stuff. And so maybe I'm a little old school in that way too. I have to do like the paper writing, like that's the kind of person I am. And so I did that, and it allowed me to write and focus on the writing that I needed to do. And also with all the organizing that was happening during the pandemic, it influenced my music because I was writing about how I was feeling at that time when the Black Lives Matter movement really popped off in the summer with the death of George Floyd, God rest his soul, and give him justice. Like, you know, there's so many things happening in our community, and just like, you know, the album is about many things. It's about oppression, it's about racism, white supremacy, tackling those things. It's about my relationship with God. It's about my community. It's for my community. It's about feeling displaced. Like, you know, I'm a displaced Afghan person. I was born and raised here in Mi'kma'ki, but like, this is not where I'm from. So, you know, dealing with all that stuff and wanting this place that's home, and feeling like, you know, the lack of identity, the loss of language, all these things, and like not seeing yourself represented and kind of feeling really alone. And also like feeling love and community too, and, you know, feeling fresh to death, and like, you know, an Adidas tracksuit is also part of it. Like, it's not one thing, you know. Wrath of Khan is like, it's not just about anger and all that. It's about resilience and liberation, and me finding my way through a really tough spot and navigating that through art and through passion.
You know, one thing, I mean, thinking you don't like doing easy things though.
No.
And I'm the complete opposite. Give me the easiest thing. Like, once it's hard, I just scribble. But that's one thing I love and I find inspiring about you. You don't do the easy thing, because like now, most artists just come out with one record, and then 3 months later they'll come up with another record, and then they'll have these 2 records that are hard or whatever, and they'll just focus on those 2 records till okay, you know, it's done. But you're like, I'm not just going to introduce who I am to the world, that I actually have this set of skills, or share my art with the world with one song. I'm going to come out with an album, right? So, you know, and the thing about an album to me, you know, it doesn't have to be a concept album, right? Like, it's this whole big brown spherical thing. I look at it, and it has different components that are different, but they still have to be together. So like, all the songs in a way have to match, have to connect. You have to be like this string that's going from track 1 to, I think you have 10 tracks on your album.
Yeah, I do.
And you're like, okay, wait, I'm gonna do this thing and I'm gonna use it as my residency. Like, was it scary at all?
Oh yeah, are you kidding me? Very scary. Very scary. I had never done this before. What
Exactly.
I don't know. Like, it was very scary. It was very scary. And I was told, like, if you're not scared, you're not doing it for the right reasons, right? If you don't feel that, if you're just doing like, oh yeah, I'm everything, like, yo, it's gonna be great. Like, you're not doing it for the right reasons. You have too much ego. And I've never been that kind of person to be like, I'm everything. Like, no one can be better than me. That's not my steez. I'm not trying to be better than anybody. I'm just trying to be myself. And something I realized too with an album was because like everyone was telling me, no, do an EP. And I was like, no, I don't have a catalog. And I've waited so long to get to this point. I'm going to go, and my album is 9 tracks and 1 outro where I talk about the album. And so the 9 tracks, like, I was like, I need to give my audience 9 songs so that they know what I can do. And this is the beginning of my journey, and my sound will change and my writing will change, but I want to document where I'm at. And I'm proud of what I've done. Like, there's I sent you a clip of a song where I'm singing in the chorus, and people can't believe that it's me singing. So it's like, there's lots of what I've done, and like, you know, the album is like a full picture of my experience in that time frame. And so it's trying to showcase who I am and all those things, and it's really scary. I don't want to like go about it like, yeah, I knew everything what I was doing and everything was easy. Like, there was times where I was like, oh my God, like, I can't do this. And I was like, I have a residency. What am I going to do? Like, I told folks I would finish this, and CFAT was so sweet. They're like, we understand. Like, art's hard. Like, you're doing your thing. If you don't get it finished, like, don't worry about it. And I was like, no, I'm finishing it. Like, I'm hard on myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and I expect a lot from myself because I don't have high expectations for other people. So I expect a lot from myself. And so like I was like, no, I'm doing this, I'm putting my heart into this, and I'm gonna get it done. And alhamdulillah, like God, I'm so thankful that, when I put my mind towards something, it comes together, it comes to fruition. And so I'm happy that this has come to fruition, and this is like it's like less than 2 weeks it's gonna be out. Yeah.
During your residency, you also did this talk. Do you want to talk about your talk?
Yeah, I did an artist talk, so it was like the last week of my residency, and I showcased three of the songs, the clips that I sent you. We played the whole thing, and Dina Williams from Vitamin D Entertainment, who's a friend of mine and a sister, and just so amazing.
Dina is awesome, yeah.
Dina is awesome, and when I first started coming into like I want to do this rap thing, she was so supportive, and she was like, yeah, you should do it, but like, and she like really, we had really good conversations about art. And so me and Dina, like, we're friends, and I really love her to death, and so I asked her to interview me essentially. And it was a great talk, and she asked me so many great questions about the album, and I felt like it was a way to introduce people to the album. So I was so happy that CFAT gave me that opportunity. And yeah, it was nice. I got a lot of good feedback from the people who did tune in and watch it, because I guess that was their first time hearing my music, and they were like, wow, like I wasn't expecting that from you at all. And I guess like that's the thing about expectations, right? I mean, like people weren't expecting me to be good or like for it to like slap, but it does. So like whatever. Yeah.
And like you already had the title of the album even while you were, applying and stuff.
Yeah.
Is this something like that title, something that you just had at the back of your mind as something you do
Well,
at
it's
some
it's a
point?
few things. It's a few things. So, The Wrath of Khan is a Star Trek movie about in I don't know if you know this about in movies in general, but people named Khan are always the villain. And my last name is Khan. And my rap name is General Khan. And so I called this Wrath of Khan because to like not give it the same name as that Star Trek movie, but also to be like, you know, my wrath isn't just anger, it's also love, and love for myself, and resilience and liberation, all this stuff. Because like I'm tired of seeing people with my name be showcased as these angry, uncivilized, like barbaric people who just want revenge. Like it's not about revenge for me. And when you come to the end of the album, you'll see that that it's not about revenge. It's about a larger picture. And like even in Disney, the way that they showcase Shere Khan, like it's always negative. Someone with the name Khan is always negative. And growing up, that was really hard for me because I'm so proud of my last name. And I'm proud of my ancestors and where I've come from. And so that for me was a way to take that back and be like, no, you can't tell me what our wrath is. I'm going to tell you what my wrath is, and I'm going to show you, and you're going to listen. And so that's kind of where the name came from, because yes, I'm angry, but I'm also happy, sad, all these things. Like I'm a human being. I'm not just one emotion, right? And so I thought it was important to take that title back and to change the way that people really view the Wrath of Khan, or Wrath of Khan, or just Khans in general, because we're not just this like monolith of people who are just like these angry like warriors who want to like fight and like kill you. Like we're human beings who bleed too, and we have a lot of heart and courage in our hearts. And people in my tribe, that's what we're known for. So that's what I wanted to bring back. Yeah.
Yeah. I love the title. I
Yeah.
love, but now giving this backstory just even makes it more powerful.
Yeah.
But we're just gonna sidetrack a bit, because a couple of weeks ago you put up this post on your Instagram about this new TV show. It's about this guy. He was like
West of Al.
yeah, that.
Yeah.
Why did you feel that was important for you to talk about?
Because you know, as an Afghan person, I find that either the world sees us as terrorists or people who need saving. And we're only those two things. We're either evil people or people you need to go save. And you know, as someone who's seen, like, you know, who hasn't been, you know, firsthand in person seeing the impacts of war, I do have survivor's guilt for not being in my land and seeing my people deal with that. And for me, it was like I watched the show and I cringed, and it made me feel sick because, you know, all these, you know, the way I see US imperialism and the way that the war in Afghanistan went down was they were trying to justify and say that they needed to save all these Afghan women um, because of how terrible our men treat us. And it's true, there's patriarchy, it exists everywhere in the world. Women are treated like crap everywhere, not just Afghanistan, but everywhere. And to see that kind of justification for a 20-year war where our resources were stolen, where every day, you know, there's children getting hurt, millions of people have been hurt, so many people have died, displaced. My country is a mess, and I'm here safe. And this show, you know, it's created not by Afghans, and they're using Afghans in lower levels of production to share this Afghan story, which is basically just fitting, you know, American propaganda. My worry is that it's going to inspire a new generation of Americans to say, hey, let's go save Afghanistan. And now, you know, we have this news that Biden's pulling out of Afghanistan by September 11th. And that date makes me feel weird because I don't know if you know this, but, you know, when 9/11 happened, there was not one Afghan that was part of that. There was not one Afghan that was part of that. But they used 9/11 to justify them invading us and hurting my people. And so that being said, they're saying that Biden's pulling out, but that's not really what's happening. And that's important to say too. What's happening is the American troops are being pulled out, but they are still allowing them to, like, have, they're privatizing the war. So they're making the Afghans contract them and pay them to be there instead of them doing this for saving us and that kind of thing. So they're changing it so that they can profit off of killing us more. And America's economy is basically war driven, you know, so their economy is run off of war. That's how they stimulate their economy, which is really sad to say. And it's historically, it's proven, it's a fact. So for me, I thought it was really important to say, and it's not only me, a lot of Afghan comrades I have and know and love also feel that way. And, you know, I was having a lot of conversations because I can't take people viewing us like this anymore. It's been too long. I'm tired of that. I'm tired of people speaking for us, telling our stories, telling us we need saviors, telling us, like, you know, just like, there's so many things wrong with this script. And in that post, like, I really outline, like, all the ways that it's racist, all the ways that it reinforces colonialism, all the ways that it allows America to, you know, propagate that the war in Afghanistan was a positive thing. There was nothing positive about it. We didn't need any saviors, you know. A lot of people don't talk about this, but the USA, you know, they literally created the Taliban and funded it. And now then after the Soviet war, they were like, oh my God, we trained all these Afghans with arms. Now what are we going to do? They took control of their country and they literally created this. And then they were like, you know what? We're going to invade them. So it's like, they just cause problem after problem for us. And I was just like, I can't stay quiet. I don't care if, you know, the Afghans that are part of the show are going to crap on me or whatever. I'm not even trying to, like, get at them because I feel sorry for them that they would sell out their own people for a paycheck. Like, this, it boggles my mind. And the main character isn't even played by an Afghan. Like, that's very clear to me that if you know, did auditions with, they said at least 100 Afghans, and not one of them wanted to actually play this character. There must have been something in that script that told them, oh, I can't do this because, you know, my people are gonna, I can't, we've been showcased enough as being like, either we're stupid people who need saving, who can't do anything for ourselves, or we're terrorists. Like, which is it? we're not one thing or the other. We're complex people. Again, like Afghans aren't monoliths. No racialized person is no people are monoliths. People are complex people with complex histories. And so
Mm-hmm.
are Afghans. There's over like so many tribes in my land, so many histories, so many people that have come together. And so like it's hard to see that happen. And the show makes jokes about the war in Afghanistan. And there's nothing funny to me about war. And so it really upset me. And so that's why I had to do what I had to do. And, I'm still trying to do stuff about that show. There's a petition to, get it shut down. But, the reality is millions of people are watching the show and it makes me feel sick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What's his name? That guy. He has another show where, like, what
Chuck
he do?
Lorre?
Yeah, him. Yeah, like he's at
The
this
Big Bang
stage.
Theory.
Yeah. He's at this stage where he whatever he does will get greenlit. Like it
Yeah.
doesn't matter whatever he does. There's a show called Bimbo and something. It's about
Yeah.
this Nigerian lady that's in the US, and it's just a caricature. And like when I saw United States of A, I was like, oh, it's like kind of replacing the black nurse lady with this Afghan
Yeah.
translator, and it's pretty much the same show.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway. So let's talk about the artwork of Rato Khan.
Yeah.
Kiki is a super talented artist.
So talented.
Did you guys have a discussion about what you wanted for the cover?
I mean, if you look at the Wrath of Khan, the Star Trek cover of the original movie, I showed Kiki that. I was like, something like that, Kiki. Something like that, but me. And he was like, okay. So he drafted something. And so he drew the image of me. And then I was looking at it and I was like, oh, like, add this thing. And he like put armor on the side of me with an Adidas emblem in it. Like there's little details like throughout the thing. And on the megaphone that I'm holding, it says Azadi, which means liberation or freedom in my language. So using our voice for freedom is what I'm pointing to. And the patterns on my clothing are similar of that of like in Afghanistan of what we wear for women. And so there's lots of pieces that are coming together. And then so he drew that, and then Ghetto Socks did the layout of it. So the like cop car that's behind and the sunset and the kind of like fiery muskiness, Socks did that part. And so like because I do talk about those things and police, and like I'm talking about like the ways in which oppression happens and racism and all this stuff. So it was really like, Socks and I had a conversation. He was like, go to Kiki, he's gonna give you the best quality work. So I went to Kiki. Kiki did give me the best quality work. He did it in 2 days. He didn't sleep. Got it done. Like the guy's like, that's my brother right there, right?
Yeah.
And so he like it's a mutual love right there for each other. And so I was like, Kiki, I want to pay you for this. So, did that. And then Socks was like, yeah, happy to do the layout for you. And he's known for doing that for a few folks in the rap scene because he's also like a graphic designer and amazing artist. So he did that part. And yeah, when it came together, I was like, whoa. And then on the back,
yeah, it looks fire.
on the back too is like the track list, right? And then my image is kind of blackened out.
Yeah.
And yeah, it has like a Pashto quote on the back. It's like, I wandered heaven's gardens and I never found a rose as beautiful as you. Like that's one of my favorite quotes from my language. It's like yeah, so it's just like so many things in it, and it's just like I'm just happy. It's I didn't imagine this would come together. But I'm happy. Yeah, thank you.
So let's dive into the songs, right?
Yeah.
So you send me these clips, I'm listening, I'm like, holy smokes, man, this is hot.
Yeah.
The Three Stripes stood out for me. Like how important is Adidas to you? Like
I am an avid Adidas person, and I think it's I say this, it came from the first time I saw an Adidas tracksuit when I was a kid. I was watching this '80s cult classic film is called The Last Dragon, and it's
I know that
okay.
film though.
Yeah, it's one of my
Show
favorite.
love.
Yes, it's one of my favorite films. And in my family, I grew up watching that with my siblings and my cousins, and we all watched it like every week. We'd watch this movie. And so the first time I recognized an Adidas tracksuit was there's this guy who walks in. He tries to take on Shonuff in the movie theater, and he's wearing an all black tracksuit with the red lines, the red three stripes. And I was like, whoa, that looks cool. And the first pair of nice sneakers I got my dad to buy me, I was like, you have to buy me Adidas. And he bought me a pair of Adidas. And so I went on from there. And then I started like, every time I would see an Adidas thing, I just noticed that I liked it. It fit my style. I could wear it with different things. You know, I could mix and match. I could do lots of stuff. And I felt confident. And that was something growing up, like, I had a hard time feeling confident as like a visibly Muslim like youth because I started wearing hijab when I was 13. And I had a hard time feeling confident because I felt like a lot of people viewed me as like this oppressed woman who couldn't speak English, or, you know, I was 13 years old. They were saying I was 20. Like the bus drivers would fight me on paying childfare. Like when I would go in, they made me show my ID, things like that. And so like when I started really getting into styling myself, I just realized how much I had always loved Adidas. And so in university, I was known as like the hijabi that was wearing Adidas around. Like I was always in a tracksuit, always a black and white tracksuit. And so that really stuck with me. And I've had a Adidas blazer from when I was, I think not blazer, it's a bomber from when I was 16. And it still is in good quality. So for me, it's 10 years old. And clothing doesn't last me like that. No clothing lasts me like that. So I'm like, okay, it's good quality. It's a price. I like the style. And I just started collecting. After that, I noticed like that was my thing. And I started collecting. The only Nike stuff I have has been gifted to me. I've never bought it. And I barely wear that stuff too because I prefer to wear the three stripes because it just, I don't really dress very feminine or very masculine. I'm kind of in between, and I feel like Adidas gives me that nuance, that like allowing me to like wear baggy clothes but like feel fly and feel nice and feel fresh and like just feel good. And I love the vintage stuff too. So, I like always connect with like, different thrift shops to like check if they have like vintage Adidas stuff because that's my steez right there, right? So yeah, I've been collecting for a while. It just feels so great in Adidas clothing, and I love it.
Did all that experience make it easy writing the Three Stripes song?
I mean, yeah, I mean, it went, you can kind of feel how I feel when I wear Adidas, like the don't mess with me, I look too good for you to mess with me type of deal. Like don't talk to me when I'm in my three stripes, like kind of like my armor, is something that I wear that protects me and protects my energy. Like, and always, when I would go to shows or something like that, there always be these, these women coming up to me being like, oh, your Adidas look so nice. Like, I'm like, I'm wearing a matching suit. Like, it's not that hard. You know what I mean? Like, it's just Adidas. Like, it's, and I love streetwear. So, and they have such a big legacy in rap, right? With Run DMC, Missy Elliott. Like, there's so much Adidas in rap and Adidas references. And so, for me, like that also like played a big influence in my life too, right? Like, my parents have like a Run DMC record. Like we weren't listening to Run DMC, but they have a Run DMC like album, like an actual record. So like that kind of stuff. So for me, when I was a kid, I saw them in the Adidas, and I was like, I just put a lot together. And it's just like, honestly, Israel, it's how I feel when I'm in it. Like I feel like my best self. I feel so confident, and like I could take on the world when I'm wearing the three stripes. And I'm just hoping they sponsor me. You know what I mean? Like they need to sponsor me.
Like that song is really good.
Thank you.
You know, the way it starts, you're flowing it. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh man, I want the full thing because I just got the clip.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, I can't wait for the thing. I've
Oh, the
pre-saved the
music
album.
video is dropping on the 30th too for Three Stripe. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
That's dope. That is dope. I can't wait, like I like that you made it super easy. There's a link right on your Instagram.
yeah.
At I am General Khan, and people can just go straight up pre-save the album.
Right.
Okay, so now it's done.
Hmm.
It comes out,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna make this my last question.
Okay.
What are some plans you have? Like, okay, first though, actually, I'm gonna make it two in one. What are some
Okay.
hopes you have when the album is out, and
Yeah.
then what are some plans you have after that?
Okay. My hopes are that people like the album, they pre-save it, they buy it on Bandcamp. And what I'm doing after is I have two more music videos that I'm working on.
Nice.
One is for a song called Garam Chai, which means hot tea. And I
Okay.
sing that chorus, and that's a clip that I sent you.
Oh, that's what that
Um,
song was where you sing.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And then the third song is I think it's still gonna be The Last Dragon, which is a song that I wrote as an ode to my favorite movie. And so those are the two music videos that I have.
Are you gonna have a scene in the video where you do the many hands?
Yeah, you know that. I'm waiting for that. Like,
I mean, it's the last dragon, man.
I know.
You know what? Like, there are a few things in my life where I remember the very first moment. I
Yeah.
remember the very first moment I watched that film. I woke up from a nap and I'm like, everyone is in the living room transfixed to this TV set. I'm like,
Yeah.
what are they watching? And then I sat down. I'm like, this is mind blowing, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think it's like you see someone, as a kid, you don't really understand it, but
Yeah.
there is this thing about seeing someone that looks like you
Mhm.
doing something cool. It's like it gives you this impression now. Wait, you know what? I can do it too.
Right.
So
That's why I took Kung Fu class, Israel. I used to be Kung Fu. I still have my Kung Fu suit. You know what I mean? Like, I was into Kung Fu because of this movie.
Right.
And Bruce Lee, of course. That's what I mean. Like, so those are the things. Yeah, it's The Last Dragon, best movie out there, my favorite movie in the world. So those are the two music videos that we have to do. I'm doing them with Dead Dog Films, so I did three. I'm doing 3 music videos with them.
Okay.
Because I got a grant from Music Nova Scotia,
Nice.
which they do these BIPOC grants. So I applied, and I'm lucky I got it, alhamdulillah. So I put it towards, like, again, my album and promoting my album, and so that's gonna come out, and then I'm gonna do a physical release of my album as well, and then I have a single that I'm gonna be dropping. I'm working on with Calvin Mansoure, who plays the violin, and it's a more sadder kind of song that's a little bit more intimate about some experiences. But I'm excited to do that, and yeah, I'm just gonna be promoting my album for the next few months, and then after that, I'm gonna start coming out with singles and providing more and more and more, and then, hopefully in a year or so, maybe I'll have maybe an EP or another album. I'm just excited to keep going. I'm not gonna stop.
Yeah, no. That like, I mean, like I said, the cover art is great.
Yeah.
Just the flow, the flow you bring to each song is unique, right? It's like, okay, you can hear it's you, but like, making this song its own thing. But then, like, just the 3 songs I've heard, there's these like connection between the 3, and I can't wait to listen to the whole album. Again, it's always interesting talking to you because I'm learning new things, and thank you so much for coming to this sanctuary.
Thank you.
Thank you for making this album and for showing that, like, if you're passionate about something, you should just go straight up and do it. And for also, inspiring me, like, if you really want to do it, you should take the hard road because I'm too lazy.
I mean, you got to do what you got to do, Israel, got to put that work in.
Yeah. Oh, man. General Ken, thank you.
Thank you.
My teachers heard the stand of a foreign land with Mike in hand.